said, "I think I'm very toxic," because she had taken birth control for years, plus she had been on multiple rounds of antibiotics for a UTI infection. And ever since, she just couldn't lose weight and she didn't feel like herself anymore. But according to her doctors, her blood work was normal. They told her nothing was out of the ordinary. So here's the big picture from Kristy's blood work. We've red flag for active infections, yeast, parasites, and viral. We've got red flags for leaky gut and a damaged liver, as well as mitochondrial dysfunction. Her toxin and her infection burden is likely contributing to her sky-high inflammation, depleted glutathione and vitamin D, and an elevated cholesterol panel, which puts her at higher risk for cardiovascular disease. Have you ever felt like something is off with your health, but your blood work keeps coming back normal? Kristy was in the same boat, exhausted, bloated, and stuck in her weight loss journey despite trying everything. Doctors told her there was nothing wrong, but her symptoms told a different story. In this video, I break down the hidden red flags in her blood work that conventional medicine missed, and I'll explain how we're uncovering the root causes to finally get her on her path to healing. Let's dive in. Kristy came to me with a laundry list of concerns: exhaustion even after 10 hours of sleep, stubborn fat that just wouldn't budge no matter what she tried, constant bloating, and constipation that just never seemed to go away. She said, "I think I'm very toxic," because she had taken birth control for years, plus she had been on multiple rounds of antibiotics for a UTI infection. And ever since, she just couldn't lose weight and she didn't feel like herself anymore. But according to her doctors, her blood work was normal. They told her nothing was out of the ordinary. So what is really going on here? Let's take a dive into Kristy's blood work and uncover the hidden signs her doctors missed. First, we're looking at high white blood cells. This indicates Kristy's body is actively fighting an infection. But here's the catch. It doesn't tell us what kind of infection she's dealing with. So we need to take a look at her infection panel. This includes her neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, and basophils. Different type of white blood cells, each with a different role in battling different infections. Her lymphocytes are high, which suggests that her body is fighting off viral infections. But that's not all. Kristy's urine analysis came back with an active yeast infections. Yeast infection can cause constant bloating and fatigue, which Kristy had all been dealing for years. Then Kristy had the several classic signs and symptoms of a parasitic infection: anal itching, insomnia, waking up exhausted no matter how much she rested, stomach pains, and her symptoms got worse around the full moon, a common sign of parasites. Now keep in mind, her infection marker for parasites, eosinophils and basophils, came back normal. This tells me there is some biofilm formation. Parasites and pathogens in general are very intelligent creatures. Their number one task is to hide and to survive in your body. In order to stay undetected in your body, they form something called biofilm, which is a protective shield under which they can live and reproduce. So if we're doing a parasite cleanse, but we haven't addressed the biofilm, it's like trying to throw raindrops at a house. They just bounce off and they don't reach the parasites. The biofilm acts as a protective shield that keeps the parasite hidden and safe. So before you can actively target the parasites with antiparasitic herbs, you first need to break down that biofilm so that the herbs actually can reach their target and do their job. Now, I always love to check ferritin when injection markers aren't showing any significant issues. Ferritin stores iron and parasites love to eat your iron stores. When ferritin levels drop, parasites might be using it to thrive in the body. Kristy's ferritin was low, indicating the parasites may be feeding off her iron. Her blood work also showed low hemoglobin and high MCV, which points to B vitamin deficiency. This could be either due to a lack of food sources or an absorption issue. The globulin marker is a great marker to look at digestive function and the leaky gut. In Kristy's case, it indicates a leaky gut paired with a chronic infection. But for gut health, we really need to dig deeper. So we're currently waiting for Kristy's gut tumor test results to learn more about her severity of gut damage, to look at SIBO overgrowth, gut inflammation, and so on. Next up is blood sugar dysregulation. Her glucose marker, which is her fasting blood sugar in the morning, is elevated. And since she's been fasting and isn't eating a standard American diet, this elevation typically points towards a stagnant liver or mitochondrial dysfunction. A more reliable marker to understand what's going on with her blood sugar is her hemoglobin H1C, which shows how her body has been managing glucose over the past 2 to 3 months. With an A1C of 5.5, Kristy is in the pre-diabetic range. In conventional medicine, this may be considered normal, but in functional medicine, this is a concern zone. We need to figure out why her blood sugar is out of whack, and since she's eating a whole foods diet, the likely culprits are again liver issues and mitochondrial damage. Speaking of mitochondria, did you know they're the powerhouses of your cells? Think of them as your internal batteries. Mitochondria are responsible for creating the energy your body needs to function from oxidizing body fat, which means they play a direct role in weight loss. With her 55, Kristy's mitochondria are struggling big times. When they're very low, you're going to struggle with almost anything because your hormones are made in the mitochondria, because cholesterol is made in the mitochondria, and cholesterol is the backbone to all steroid hormones. So mitochondria are literally responsible for every function in the body. If your mitochondria are damaged, like Kristy's, you're going to feel tired all the time and you're going to struggle to lose weight. Mitochondria damage doesn't just happen randomly. There always is a trigger, a root cause. So yes, we need to repair the mitochondria while also addressing the root cause. Otherwise, it's just trying to charge a dead battery with a faulty charger. It's never going to work. Now, let's talk about cholesterol. A high cholesterol panel is often a sign of inflammation, which can lead to issues like clogged arteries or cardiovascular disease. Cholesterol panels help us to check for inflammation, plaque formation, a stagnant liver, because the liver makes all the cholesterol. Genetics are just a little piece, but really environment and lifestyle is the biggest factor. Cholesterol is the backbone to literally all of your steroid hormones. So it's incredibly important to produce sufficient thyroid, estrogen, progesterone, all the things. It is important to understand that not all cholesterol is bad. We need it, but just in the right ratios for proper hormone function and detoxification. Not too much and not too little. Kristy's cholesterol panel is all over the place, indicating high inflammation, liver dysfunction, severe metabolic dysfunction, an increased risk for cardiovascular disease, as well as high oxidative stress, which is often commonly caused by things like infection, viruses, or heavy metals. This panel is again not a root cause. We need to figure out what's causing the inflammation and why her liver is so overburdened. Speaking of the liver, Kristy's GGT levels are low. GGT is a liver marker, and that's what we also call a tertiary glutathione marker. It's a great protector of your immune system, and it's a really good marker to not only look at the liver, but also at your glutathione need. Whenever I see low alkaline phosphatase and low GGT, I'm thinking of mitochondrial dysfunction and the liver is struggling big times. Low GGT commonly indicates that there's a need for glutathione. So either you're burning it up too fast, or there's something in the body blocking it, and the reason in most cases is a stagnant liver pathway and secondary mitochondrial dysfunction, as well as oxidative stress from herbicides, pesticides, heavy metals, mold, infections, and co. Also, her vitamin D is tanked, and vitamin D is so important because it's an immune modulator. Keep in mind that 70 to 80% of our immune system lies in the gut. So when the immune system is under a lot of pressure and the gut is under attack due to a leaky gut, gut inflammation, or gut infection, you will use up a lot of vitamin D. Also, mold can cause low vitamin D through multiple mechanisms. So at this moment, it's a good idea to supplement with vitamin D to get her stores up, but it really comes down to removing the trigger that's causing the depletion so that we will have sufficient vitamin D naturally. So here's the big picture from Kristy's blood work. We've red flagged for active infections, yeast, parasites, and viral. We've got red flags for leaky gut and a damaged liver, as well as mitochondrial dysfunction. Whenever I hear liver and mitochondria issues, it makes me think of mold, which goes after the liver and after the mitochondria first. Another favorite test of mine is the total tox burden, which will tell us more about her exposure to mycotoxins, heavy metals, and other environmental toxins. But what we do now is this. Her toxin and her infection burden is likely contributing to her sky-high inflammation, depleted glutathione and vitamin D, and an elevated cholesterol panel, which puts her at higher risk for cardiovascular disease. So where do we go from here? Laying the foundation with opening all of her drainage pathways. That's her liver, her bowels, her kidneys, her gallbladder, and her lymphatic system to allow her body to eliminate the toxins in the next steps effectively. if drainage pathways are not open, toxins will not be able to leave the body, and this can cause severe detox reactions. We are also working on rebuilding her mitochondria and repairing her leaky gut. Since her cholesterol levels are high, we're temporarily using some herbs to balance her lipids until the root cause is being addressed and resolved. We also started her on a temporary regimen to boost her glutathione and vitamin D, including high-dose vitamin D supplementation, coffee enemas, castor oil packs, as well as TATCA. So, if you're dealing with symptoms like Kristy and you want to know what's really going on in your body, you can apply to work with me to the link in my caption. Sending you lots of love, light, and healing. God bless you.